Greetings and salutations, Charlton66 here once again with a video with a surprise package I got in the mail from Davis Comic Finds. He sent me something I have no idea, an act of kindness, and I do appreciate it. So without further ado, I'm going to open up. It came in a pretty large box. I have no idea what's in this. Open it up now and see what we got. Davis, I do appreciate this. It was very kind of you to take the time to send this to me. Yeah, I have no idea what's in it. Okay, alright. Nice copy of Alter Ego. Awesome. We have a nice letter, which I'm going to read. Wow. Thank you, Davis. And we got the stack of comics. Wow. Really well packed. Thank you, sir. Nice. Justice League 96. Excellent. Just like Shannon, our buddy Shannon, love the heads on the side. Oh, wow. Nice. Ibis the Invincible. Very, very sweet. I want to check this out real quick. I've seen these, I've never owned one. These smaller comics. I like the little backing board there, very cool. Oh yeah. Excellent. 1942. Ibis. Awesome Fawcett character. Thank you very much. Let's see what else we got here. Marvel Milestone Editions FF1. Always love to have these. You can never afford the original, so I might as well have a reprint, right? X-Men 157. Oh yeah. Justice Society #1. Love that cover. There they all are in all their glory. Justice Society. Oh yes, Mike Paraback. Justice Society #10. Straczynski and Paraback. Yes. I think I'm saying his last name right. Yeah, Straczynski. Paraback. Yeah, he died way too young. Excellent artist for the Justice Society. Oh, we got some Miracle Men. #1 3D. Very nice. And Miracle Man 1. Rebirth, Alan Moore. Excellent. Nice Justice League 1. Wizard World from Comic Con box. Awesome. Justice League 1. Very cool. I love the original old logo from the 70s we all remember and love. Wow. National Comics #50. Jack Cole cover. Thank you, sir. Excellent. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate this. It'll be a welcome addition to my collection. And again, thank you for the taking the time to send me that package. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Keep the letter with everything, and rebag and board, and read them, enjoy them, and put them in my collection. Thank you, sir. And onward to the update for the contest, for the 100 subscriber contest. I'm just going to go over the list to make sure I have everyone. If I miss someone who has currently put up a video and enter the contest and I don't have your name, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to add you and check your video out. But this is who I have so far. Davis Comic Finds, Wolf and Fox 77, Dr. Silver Age, Kyle Rowe, Thomas Churchill, The Doom 143, Mr. Rigor Mortis 86, Sarge TD, Daydreams and Nightmares, Long Box Love Affair, Dr. Von Schilla, Solid 4 ST Bend, The Comic Book Estate, and Dashir's Comics and Things. If I'm missing someone who's not on this list, please let me know and I'll be sure to add you. Again, the contest ends on the 17th at 3 o'clock. And onward to a couple other things. Real quick, some recent pickups that I have. Again, I don't buy a lot of new stuff like a lot of the people on YouTube. But I did pick up my Space Riders #3, which is a great little series. I recommend it if you can find it. Like I said, the first printing, they're hard to find for the first series, but they're in hardback and trade paperback. Picked up that, Space Riders #3. True Believers 1, Ant-Man and the Wasp, nice Silver Age stuff that you can read at my leisure. I have one of the original comics in this collection, but not the whole thing, not this Ant-Man and Wasp story. And Iron Man here, I think this is from Tales of Suspense. I can't remember which issue this was from. 41. Yes. Which is great to read these with the highlight, with the new cover, the new coloring and everything in here. Makes everything kind of pop. And don't worry about destroying your or messing up your original copies if you read them a lot like I do. I can take this out and read this anytime. And the Eternals, which I got the whole run, but I had to pick this up because I think the Celestials are one of the for me one of the greatest Kirby creations. I think the Celestials, I mean, they're being used to this very day in comic books and everything else. And the Eternals, I think it lasted like 18, 19 issues, something like that, in an annual. But they've been used throughout the Marvel Universe to this day, and I think the Celestials are just an awesome, awesome concept. So anytime I see anything with the Eternals, got to pick it up. And picked up, of course, more Kirby goodness, the Black Racer, which I think is one of the coolest characters in the Fourth World universe. I think he's another awesome concept. Again, only from Kirby. Not Stan Lee's not involved in any of this. Stan Lee has nothing to do with any of this stuff that Jack Kirby created in the Fourth World for DC. And those things resonate still in the DC universe, including Darkseid. So, it's one of those things that, I don't want to, be negative to Stan Lee or anything like that, but it's one of those things that I think, and I do believe that Kirby has a lot more input than even what we know about. I mean, Kirby is the king of comics, and my opinion is that he contributed more than even what we realize. He's celebrated today. He's celebrated throughout fandom constantly. But Stan Lee seemed to get more hype from fans and got to get a signature on a comic book. Comic books he had nothing to do with. Stan Lee did not create Captain America. Okay, Joe Simon, Jack Kirby did. But yet, we'll see stuff with the Marvel Universe with Stan's name on it, and there's Captain America. So, it's one of those things that I think, given the opportunity, if I was Stan Lee and I had the opportunity, that I would talk about Ditko and Kirby a lot more than he does. It's one of those things that we know what Kirby has done, but we have to still think about how it still resonates in the universe. Even after he left working with Stan Lee, what contributions did Jack Kirby do? It was tons of stuff. After Lee and Kirby, what was the contribution that Stan Lee gave us? He gave us Ravage 2099. Again, It's not negative, but that's the reality. But what did Jack Kirby give us? He gave us a lot more. The Fourth World Universe that Jack Kirby did for DC, Jack Kirby did it. There was no one else there. And it still resonates in the DC universe. All those characters are still being used to this day. All those characters are still loved and read about all the time. You know, we have people on here who still love Commandy, OMAC, you know, all the Fourth World stuff. Again, that's strictly Jack Kirby 100% across the board. And if you read Challengers of the Unknown and Showcase, you read that, that's the Fantastic Four. Now, Stan Lee may have added a little bit, I shouldn't say a little bit, but may have fleshed things out more, where the FF resonate more. But you read Challengers of the Unknown, that's the Fantastic Four. It reads the same way. It might not be as complex, but given the situation and the time frame, that's as complex as you were going to get then. So I think that, you know, Jack Kirby was not one to toot his own horn. And I think, you know, that made the kind of guy that he was. You know, he was a comic artist, a cartoonist, an illustrator. That's what he did. That's what he understood he got paid for. I never met the man. I wish I did. But reading interviews with people who knew him, reading interviews with people who worked with him, that's the vibe that I get. That's what my understanding is. And he was not one to look at me like Stan Lee does. You know, again, we put our characters, our creators on pedestals and stuff where they should be, but Jack Kirby should be on a pedestal above everybody. And that includes some of the biggest names in comics. I'm not going to list them here, but Jack Kirby is the man. And I don't mean for it to be a rant, but it's one of those things that I think that people need to really, not that they don't, but really sit back and say, wow, what's Jack Kirby done and how it affects comic books now, and it's still being felt. Sadly, the man's passed away, but we're still talking about him, we're still celebrating him. So that says a lot about that. And on to Jack Kirby, I did pick up Kirby 100, which has tons of illustrations in here, and creators who will write what they thought about his artwork, from Barry Windsor Smith, John Romita Sr., like I said, Barry Windsor Smith, Terry Moore. It's just tons of stuff in this book. Al Milgrom. It's just, there's nothing that can surpass Scott McCloud's in this, but it's just full of illustrations, interviews. Just a great book to have. And there's nothing in comic books that artists or illustrators that can come close to what Jack Kirby's done for us in the comic world. What he can do with the line, with the figure in action, it can't be surpassed. There's so much power in just a figure walking across the page. There's so much power, obviously, when heroes are clashing with the villains. There's power in everything that he does, and there's no illustrator that could do that. So, again, this is a great book to have. I recommend it. Jack Kirby 100. It's just got tons of stuff in this. It's stuff that people made fun of back in the 70s. They didn't like Devil Dinosaur or Machine Man, and there were other creators and there's other people back in the day who made fun of it. And now they're sought-off books in people's collections, so go figure. So I did talk about that. And also, one of the things I like to talk about too is listen to Shannon's Solid 4 ST Ben, listening to him talk about his contribution to Lin Wein and the beloved JLA, which the issues he showed, I enjoyed them just as much, and they resonate with me on many levels, including the appearances of the JSA and appearances of the Seven Soldiers of Victory, which led me to start thinking about, the issues that I have, and I went back to read them. The only Golden Age Seven Soldiers of Victory book that I have is in Leading Comics. These are hard to find at a price that is affordable, so this was my only issue so far, which is a pretty good story, and which led me to think about there's a Adventure Comics 438, I think 438 to 444. I think it was the last issue where there was a found Seven Soldiers of Victory script in the DC offices that was written 30 years ago, which these issues came out in 1975, so it made the story the last Seven Soldiers of Victory story written in 1945, excuse me. So this script was found, so they decided to have it illustrated by different artists and put it in the back of Adventure Comics, which was a strange thing to me, I guess, because there's hardly anything saying that they're in the book other than a little cover blurb, and it's in a Spectre comic. I mean, Adventure Comics had the Spectre in it, was the main story. I would have thought the Seven Soldiers of Victory story would be put in a JLA or something like that. But again, it started with 438. And the only thing up here is the Seven Soldiers of Victory. That's all it says extra, Seven Soldiers of Victory. So people might have thought that was a reprint, I don't know. But it's the original story. Started in this one, continued into 439. And I think this one has a Shining Knight story. Each, of course, like they did in the Golden Age, a lot of stuff was broken up with teams, where one chapter might be one team member, next chapter will be another team member, and this is no different. So each Seven Soldier is broken up into a separate chapter. There's 7 chapters in this complete story. So this one has a Shining Knight story in it by Howard Chaykin, one of his earlier pro work. This has, I can't remember what chapter's in this one, but I know this is a Mike Grell. Mike Grell did one of the chapters, and I can't remember what character it was. Might have been the Crimson Avenger. I can't remember what chapter it was that he drew in this, but it's early Mike Grell. So it continued in that, and again, on this cover, there's nothing about the Seven Soldiers of Victory on this cover or in 439 that you would just have to know it continued. If you would have bought one of these, you never would have known. Same thing with this one. Continued into 441, the Seven Soldiers of Victory chapter, and 442. The same thing. It continued. The Seven Soldiers of Victory story continued into 442, and 443 was the last. I believe it was the last chapter. And 442 has the chapter with Vigilante, who's my favorite member. Yeah, this was the last chapter. All of them are together. Of course, once they all had their adventures, the last chapter combined the whole team. Of course, the first chapter, the team starts out together, and then they get separated, and then the team comes back together in this. And what's cool about the Vigilante story that's in 442 is drawn by Garcia Lopez, which was really cool to see that. So it concluded in 443. So 438 to 443, those were the Seven Soldiers of Victory lost script that was found in the DC offices in 1975 that should have been published in 1945. But written and illustrated, well, it was written by Golden Age. I forgot his Bob Schumacher, something towards that effect. That's who it was written by. But the illustrations were done by different artists, which make it kind of cool. Dick Dillon, Michael Grell, like I said, Garcia Lopez, Ernie Chaw. No, I'm sorry, that was a Spectre story. Dick Dillon did a lot of the, Joe Samachson, Samachson. So he did the script back then, and they found it and illustrated the story, which I think is kind of cool. So anyone who's a Seven Soldiers of Victory fan or a fan of any Golden Age storyline, pick up those Adventure Comics. Not only do you get a cool Spectre story in there, but you also get the Seven Soldiers of Victory storyline. So, and I also want to say thanks to everyone who's entered the contest. thanks for everyone's great comments on my videos and the response I have from my videos and things I've done on my channel. It's really phenomenal. I do appreciate that. I can't say enough about the support that I have from everyone on in the YouTube community, in the comic book community. It's really appreciated. It goes to show, you know, if there's always an interest, we always can share an interest with something, no matter what it is, what you talk about or things you think about or things you read or do. There's always someone who shares that same interest, and it's great to interact with the good folks on here, and it's great to see what other people have. And again, it kindles or rekindles certain things in my collection and the way I think about comics and how I read things. So I do appreciate everyone's support and continued support on my channel, and hopefully I'm doing the same back. I try to respond to every comment. Now I'm getting to a point where it's getting tougher because there's so many comments to respond to everything, but I do my best to respond to. I do read every comment. I do, and if I don't respond to them, it's inadvertently missed and not done on purpose. So again, thanks to everyone. Good luck on the contest. Like I said, I read off the names. If I missed anyone, please let me know, and I'll be sure to add you to the drawing. And if you have not entered, please do so. And if you those who have entered and enter in the future, good luck to everyone. Thanks, and have a good weekend.